Well, welcome to Music Game Club's December chat. Our teacher chat topic today is teaching music theory in 5 minutes or less. But first, actually, I would like to, we have just a couple of quick questions just to kind of have everybody introduce themselves. So I'm Rebecca Trevelise, and I'm based out of Austin, Texas. And I am prepping for recitals right now. So our studio recital is coming up December 16th. And then December 17th starts our break. So it's really nice to have a very long break. The students actually don't go back to school until January, is it 10th? Yeah, sorry, January 9th. So we have a really long break this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. So my question is, do you have a holiday recital coming up, and when is your break starting?
So I do have one coming up. It's on the 16th, which is a Saturday. And then we're off that next week until it's for 3 weeks. There's a group that I teach at and they have a 3-week break. So I did that this year. So the 8th, I think, is when my studio starts back up. I'll probably have some lessons to reschedule that week after the recital, but for the most part, that'll be the start of the break.
Awesome. What about you, Patty? It looks like you're muted, but you feel free to type in the chat if that's easier for you than talking right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know how I happened to mute. What was the other person's name?
That was Christina.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Christina.
Hi, Christina. My studio recital is next Friday. It's the 8th, and then I run my music studio out of my home. So I am like a poor music teacher. So I teach all the way through the break of anybody that'll come to my house. And we usually start back up again like that first week of January.
Awesome. What about you, Amanda?
So I'm Amanda Taro. I help Rebecca here at Music Game Club. So I only have like 4 or 5 students. So we're actually not doing Christmas recital. Several of my students play in church. So that's kind of that's their experience that they get playing in front of people. So the way I have my studio set up is I finished teaching, I think the 4th, but then the week after is my makeup week. So if anyone missed their lessons, because I don't do makeups throughout the semester, I'm just like, you're paying for this semester, and if you skip once, I'll have a 1-week makeup that you could do. If you skip more than that, I'm sorry, pretty much. And it's worked really well for me and my students. So so technically I think I will be teaching whatever that week after is, the 12th, or whatever that date is. And I haven't decided when I'm coming back in January yet. I was like, I need to figure that out for my students. So we'll see. We'll see how long my break is.
Awesome. Well, good luck to both Christina and Patty in your recitals coming up. That's exciting. All right, so I would love to share my 3 tips for teaching music theory. And if y'all think of something that you utilize for teaching music theory when you have limited time during a lesson, please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. So my first one is using music theory in the actual music. So for instance, if I have a beginner playing, and we haven't really talked about intervals, but now they're playing seconds and fifths, say that they're playing Jingle Bells, so their left hand is learning seconds and fifths. It's kind of a pop quiz style that I do. I just quickly show them what a second looks like on the page, and so they can see that it's kind of smashed together, and oftentimes they think they're played separately because they're side by side, it looks different. And then the fifth is nice, and you can see visually that the fifth is much larger. So second, fifth, I just kind of breeze through their music, and then I teach them how to play it. And then basically I'm just pointing and they're saying it and playing it. So that's just a really quick, that probably takes maybe 2 minutes in the lesson to teach those intervals. Another option for like a more advanced student would be pop quiz style. In the middle of the piece, I'll stop them and go, what chord did you just play? And so it's like, oh, they really need to be paying. So a lot of times that they can't verbalize it necessarily maybe right that second, but they can look down at their hand, they can look at the music, and then sometimes I have to prompt them. If it's not in root position, I can say, okay, play the chord. Now, can you get that into root position if they need a little encouragement? Then we start identifying, okay, how far away is the root from the third, from the fifth? And so we quickly go through that. So that just takes a couple of minutes right there in the lesson. So I love doing that kind of pop quiz style, because a lot of times we don't, especially prepping for recitals, I don't have time to sit down on the floor, sit at a table and play a game, but I like those pop quiz styles. Also having 60-second games. So my 3 go-to ways for that is to have Note Rush, Flash Note Derby, and boom cards ready to go. Like it's already pulled up, it's ready to go when the student arrives. So I know if we need a 60-second break during practice time or heavy recital prep, we can take that 60-second brain break, review music theory, okay, back to work. And then my third tip would be, if I am going to play a game and I have 5 minutes or less, I have the game laid out and it's ready to go. I don't spend any prep time during the lesson. Everything is laid out. The game board is laid out. The game pieces are at start. The cards are already laid out for the student and myself to play, or a group setting. So have it ready. And then sometimes I will just set a timer for 5 minutes. We only have 5 minutes. We're going to get as far as we can in this game. Whoever is leading the game at that point, when the timer dings, they're the winner. So that really helps me manage my time during lessons, but still infuse music theory when there is limited time.
So my 3 tips, one of them's very similar, and I've learned this. I started teaching my niece. She was 5, she's turned 6 now, but very energetic, very imaginative. So I realized really quickly, it's like we have to almost rely on games. And so what I have found is she does really well with her attention span is actually pretty good for a 6-year-old. But our first few lessons, especially, it was not. Like, she was getting used to it. Like, okay, you're not just my finance, you're actually my teacher. So I found what was really helpful was, like Rebecca was saying, to take breaks and go to games. So we'd do a little bit on the piano, then we'd take a break and do some games. And I actually found that she's learning much faster, more permanently through playing games. So we might play more than one game in a lesson. Just we won't play the same concept all, the whole time. But little bitty, like 5 minutes or 5 minutes or less, it's like, oh, let's do this game. And then let's do like maybe a boom card, or let's do this game. And so that I have found works really well. It's kind of different angle of teaching in 5 minutes or less. It's more like, there's so much for beginner piano students to learn. Like, they've got to learn their note names and dynamics and note values and counting. And there's so much to learn. And so instead of introducing a piece of music and doing, oh, here's the treble clef, bass clef, and like drill them like I did whenever I first started teaching, I'm now looking at all the concepts. It's like, okay, what little games can I play sprinkled throughout the lesson that will teach these same concepts, rather than just like dictating it to her through music. So that's one of them, is basically using little 5-minute games throughout the lesson sprinkled around to teach more than one concept in a lesson. And then second, the way that I like using theory in 5 minutes or less is I do a lot of hands-on theory. That's actually how I learned theory. I thought I hated theory when I was 11 or 12. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Macintosh theory books. They're old. But they're pretty intense. And I think what it was my teacher was trying to get me to understand too deep of theory too soon, and it just was not my style. I think if it would have been game style, it would have been so perfect. But sorry, Siri just went off and it distracted me. So I like to teach hands-on theory. So like my chords, even if they don't understand it, I'll be like, C, E, G, teach them by like rote or by note. Let's do your C chord, and then let's do your G chord and your D chord. And then I'll give them a lead sheet and we'll walk through the different chords. And then whenever they're older, they understand, oh, a chord is created out of a a major third and a perfect fifth, or a minor third and a perfect fifth. And so depending on the student and their age, if they're a little bit older, I might would introduce the theory concept, but then I'd be like, basically I've got 3 ways to teach chords. And it's like, I'm teaching it by note, or I'm teaching it by thirds, or by, I like the pattern, skip 3, skip 2, where you play a note, you skip 3 notes, play a note, skip 2 notes, play a note. That's their major chord. Minor chord is skip 2, skip 3, diminished is skip 2, skip 2, and then augmented is skip 3, skip 3. So however the student grasped it, if they're old enough, I will explain the theory to them, but I don't expect them to latch onto the theory, mainly because I didn't until I was like college age. And then I'm learning theory. I'm like, oh, I know exactly how to do this, because one of my piano teachers that I had, my last teen piano teacher, I think she explained all the theory to me, but I didn't understand it. I just grasped like, oh, this is what a major chord looks like. This is what a minor chord looks like. And then I get to learning the theory and I realize I actually already know what I'm doing, because I have such a hands-on understanding in music. And it also, like, substitution chords also, I like kind of learned those by ear and then learned them theoretically after the fact. So that is actually how I approach teaching theory. And you can do those in just like little, 5-minute segments to teach 3 major chords, or depending on how fast the student is, 1 major chord and inversions or whatever. And then they don't have to understand all the theory behind it. And I think a lot of teachers do that, but that was not how I started. So I'm like, now I've kind of grasped that. I'm like, oh yes, I am totally, totally keen on just teaching it hands-on. Don't expect them to understand the theory behind it, because unless they're just like brilliant students, they're not going to be like, oh yes, I really grasped that major third and minor third is what makes chords. So that's one of my favorite ways to do it, is hands-on. And then later, whenever they're more in their teen years, I'll introduce theory, and then they're just like, oh, this is so easy. I'm like, yeah, that was my goal. Theory needs to be easy. It does not need to be hard. And then my last one is boom cards. That is something I've gotten into in the last couple of years, and we will talk more about boom cards later. But I love it because I teach most of my students online. I moved states last year, and so all but one of my students are online. And so if we need to review key signatures or whatever, that's just a really fast and easy way to assign music theory review. And also, I like, this is kind of a little bonus, I like using boom cards, or any games really, to teach the concepts. I kind of already covered that a little bit, but just like an example, I had a boom card set. Kelly Bordeaux does a lot of boom cards, piano boom cards with Melody Payne. And so I had one of her card sets. It was a cute little dog, and it was like a quarter note, drag however many balls to equal the quarter note. And so my niece had never done like timing. I've had like 5 lessons with her. I'm like, I'm going to wait on timing, because she's her own little creative self. I don't think she's not gonna adhere to timing very well. So this was my first introduction of timing to her. And I walked her through the boom cards and like, oh, that's a quarter note, that gets 1. And by the time we did like 2 of each kind, she was doing them all by herself. And so I love that it's fast, it's easy to grab and go. And then the students, it's self-correcting. So even if the students are doing it at home, they can just like do a 5-minute boom card, and they know immediately, oh, I got that wrong, and they get it fixed. And it's just really good. So that's one of the ones I have. So we're about to open the floor up to see if y'all have suggestions. But before, I wanted to mention we have a new PDF that we just put together called the Music Game Club Formula. And it basically are 3 tiers for Music Game Club. We love music games, inspiration, and support. And that's kind of what our focus is, with helping teachers and also helping our students. And so with all 3 of these, you can do games focused just on having fun with music games. And then you could focus on using music games for inspiration, and you could focus on music games for support. So we have, I don't know, there's probably a dozen different ideas of here's how to utilize music games and teach music theory in your studio in a fun way. So I think Rebecca's gonna, there it is. Rebecca just dropped the link for that in the chat. So if y'all want that free PDF, I will also be emailing links to everything that we mentioned today, because I know sometimes it's hard to follow links, especially if you're on your phone. It's hard to follow links and download things while you're trying to also pay attention to what we're saying. So that's free for y'all to download, and it also has like a little workbook, like so y'all can brainstorm your own games and stuff like that. But we'd like to hear, do y'all have any ideas, like how do you basically make little snippets of teaching theory during your lessons? What works best for y'all?
So for me, I try to plan it out ahead of time. Like I have an idea of like, even if I want it to be as simple as like I want them to do like listen to the difference between major and minor chords. So and then if I can, I'll try to write out like a list of like how I want the lesson to go. I'm not perfect at that, but that way I can kind of break up if we're doing a lot of like practicing playing songs, like I think Rebecca was saying, and like you need to take a break or something. Like if we need to get up and play a game or whatever, just having it planned out ahead of time. And then I also do like I'll point things out in music too, like Rebecca was talking about as well. And I liked what you were saying, Amanda, about like not getting, I think I get too involved in the explanation of theory sometimes, and they're just kind of like so overwhelmed with it. So I appreciate that tip, because sometimes I just need to like teach them like the shortcut or whatever to it, and then later they can see how everything connects and all.
Yeah, that's good.
I just try to, you know, whenever I see a student and they're stuck on a theory thing, I just try to explain it the easiest possible way that I can and not rush them through it, because I used to teach public school too, and I was always trying to rush and, you know, get everything crammed in. And I just think taking your time and letting them, you know, letting the student kind of let it sink in with them is better than just trying to, you know, cram a bunch of stuff into a lesson and you know, hoping they get it during the week while they're practicing.
I love that. I constantly tell my students, hey, this is a new concept, so don't worry. We're going to keep reviewing this until it's really set. Like there's no pressure
Yeah.
to feel like, wait, it's okay. You know, I often say, when my teacher told this to me, it was way over my head. I did not understand what she was talking about. This, and then I usually play a game, so it makes it more lighthearted and fun.
Right. Yeah.
And start grasping little bits and pieces of the concept, you know, so I agree. Okay, so we have our big announcement. We've been kind of leading up to this this last month. Amanda and I have been listening to you teachers, and one of the things that I've been asking for us all year is a digital way to play our games. So we have beautiful artwork, we have beautiful printed games. So our monthly membership has always been, you purchase it, you download, you print, and then you enjoy. We've been working really hard, and we are so pleased to announce that we have BoomSet memberships launching in January of 2024. So our current members, well, so actually there's 3 tiers of membership. So our current members are at $15 a month. So your membership will remain the same, but now you will also get all of the Boom card sets that we release. So you'll get the printable game download and you will get the digital game download. So that just opens up for some of us that teach some students still online, and then most of my students are in person. It just opens up that avenue of having that digital game either in your studio in person, or if you are an online teacher, having that beautiful digital game. So I'm so proud of our artwork. You know, we have an artist that actually creates all of our game boards and all of our game pieces. So it's beautiful artwork. So any age of student can play our games, and they're not going to feel like it's a baby game or it's, you know, a childish version. So we have a $10 a month membership tier now for just the digital Boom membership. And we also have a $10 printable game membership. So if you want to get both, you can join as a $15 monthly member and you get both of those. So it's a $5 savings every month. So we're super excited. And for this month, everyone who is a member will get our decks for IC intervals. So Amanda can probably explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I've like totally dived into the Boom world. Have y'all played Boom cards before? Okay, Boom cards are so much fun. So it's basically their task cards and their self-checking. I will explain it in a little while. But every month we're going to give you 4 sets of boom cards, covering whatever the topic is. So like this month is icy intervals. It's I'm going to show you the game in a little bit, but it's reviewing intervals seconds through 6th. And the printable game has where you basically go around the board and you collect them. Show them that in a little bit. But the boom cards are where you can drag and drop intervals to the correct answer, or you can tap. I love one of the sets that we have is identify the top note of the interval or identify the bottom note of the interval. So we have different levels of boom cards. That's why we're going to give 4 a month. So that way, if you have beginner students, elementary students, and intermediate students, should be able to cover all of them. Because I know for me, I don't like whenever I get a boom card set and it's like, oh, well, this is great. I can use it for 1 student, so we wanted, when we have our boom card set on the membership, to give enough variety to where it hits hopefully everyone in your studio. So with that said, Rebecca just dropped links. Again, I will email these links, but she dropped links for free boom cards that can get you started. So I will share my screen. Hopefully I can share my screen and walk you through with boom cards. So Boom Learning, it's the host platform. It's like wow.boomlearning.com. And you can get your apps. You can get an app on any device. So I am on my phone right now. And so I usually use Boom on my, I usually use it on my computer. So when you get to Boom, there are several different things. You have your classes tab, which is where you can drop your students, have your students. You have your library, which is where you will have all the boom cards you own will be in there. And then if you publish on boom cards, then you have the report store and studio. So when you get a boom cards deck, you automatically get a link, and our boom card decks are created to where it just it has the link and it says click here to download your boom cards. And because I'm not on my computer, I cannot actually show you how to do that, but it's very, very, very easy. So it says click here to download your boom cards. You click there and then it automatically takes you to Boom Learning. If you do not have an account, then you can create an account. And it's like, I mean, Rebecca can tell you how easy it is. I think she just did it today because I've used boom cards for like 2 years now and she hadn't. So you pretty much, it walks you through there. And so once you create an account, it will take you to your dashboard. And so you can create classrooms, and then you can create new students, add many students. You can set them a password. I usually do an easy password. And then whenever you have your students, you can click on them and you can click assign, and then you can go to the decks that you have and you just click a check mark and they will be assigned whichever decks you assign them. So yeah, it's like really, really easy. So I just go through mine. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I want them to have that. And if you don't want them to have it for that week, then you just uncheck it. So it's very, very easy to assign them. You can also, if you wanted to, you can go to your library and you can do an action. You could do a fast pin. So then they can copy that link, or they can copy the code, or they can copy the link. So if you do the link, I will try to show you how it's done whenever you have it. I actually don't even know which one I did, so we're gonna enjoy the surprise together. So whenever you do a fast pin, this is what you would want to use, like if you're using it in lessons. So this is one of our intervals one, and it starts with an explanation card, and this is where you're identifying the top or the bottom notes. So then it's what is the bottom note of this interval. There's also a sound, you can tap it.
What is the bottom note of this interval? Tap the correct answer.
So then if you have students who aren't reading yet, you can teach them how to tap that and listen to it. And then, so they have to identify, hey, it's bass clef, bottom note. Bottom note is A. So if they click the wrong one, it's just a little whoops, and it's not like anything terrible. And then they can, guess again. Hopefully they'll get it right. So it's very, very easy. Then they just like keep cycling through the different cards and tapping the answers, or there are drag and drops for the answers. So that's one way to do it, is fast pin. That's an easy way to do it while you're teaching. And then you can assign it for the week. So before I go on, because it like, I don't want to be like too fast for y'all. So do y'all have any questions? I've got a YouTube video, which you will get with your free boom cards that you sign up. There's a video that will walk you through, like, here's what the PDF looks like. Here's how to click it. So do you have any questions you want me to answer? Because
I
I
do.
don't.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I was wondering, when you do like an online lesson, if you wanted to play this in the lesson, I know that they can bring it up. Is there a way that we can see it while they're playing it? Like, do they have to share their screen? Is that what we would do?
yeah, share your screen. There is one platform it does not work with. I don't remember which one it is, but I think it's one that a lot of public school teachers use. But like, I'm pretty sure like Zoom and anything like more public that uses sharing, that's what I usually do, is I share the screen. And sometimes I'll do it opposite, where I will share the screen and have them tell me the answer, and I'll tap it even if it's wrong. So sometimes I'll do it that way. There might be a way, I'm not that comfortable with Zoom, but there might be a way to share control, and to where they can control your screen once you do it. That might be a paid tier. So yeah, there's a few different ways that I would use it that way.
Thanks.
Can I ask what platform you use for your online lessons?
I pretty much use a different online platform for each student. So I use Zoom. The sound is not always great. So I do also like using, let me get you the right,
I use Zoom and FaceTime.
I
Okay.
use, yeah.
The student that I have that's always on his phone, I cannot tolerate Zoom. Like, the sound is horrible. So we just do it on FaceTime and it's fine. But then I have another student who has a really good setup, and we always join on Zoom for
Okay.
his lesson. So
Another one that I use with my sister, she has terrible internet, is fortelessons.com. And I believe it's still free. I believe it's free unless you're using them, because they will have like their teacher platform that they recommend you to students. So I think it's free unless you do that. But if you're just sending the link directly to your students, I believe Forte Lessons is free. So it's fortelessons.com. I've been using that for her. You do have to have a computer or a tablet, and some of my students only have phones. I really want all of them on there, but most of them have phones, so they don't do it that way.
Yeah. Is FaceTime an Apple app?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I have an Android, and sometimes I can do a video call, and sometimes I can't, just depending.
yeah,
I
the
just was
device that
curious.
they have. Yeah. My art teacher, when I was doing art lessons online with her, she was using Microsoft Teams.
Okay. Yeah.
It worked well. She had her camera set up, very similar to piano, but she was, of course, showing her art strokes, like as she was sketching, I could see it. And that worked well. I've never used it personally, but as a participant, I experienced it, and it was.
Yeah. Well, and I know there's Google Duo and Google Meet. I don't think I've used those.
I've used those before, and they're okay.
Okay.
I think the biggest problem is if you have intermediate students, if the sound can't keep up. which they're
Right.
getting better at that. But that was Zoom was really bad for a little while there. It's like I couldn't hear anything, and that's whenever I switched to Forte lessons. Zoom has gotten better since I had those issues, but yeah. Sometimes it's just what platform works for us today.
Yeah.
Right.
The students' internet connection and, you know, and
Oh,
if
yeah.
they're gaming in their household while they're on their lesson, it's gonna affect the lesson. So,
Yeah. Yeah. My biggest thing why I haven't done more online lessons is because I so like to be there and be able to see their hands because it's so hard to really get a good picture of their hands and what they're doing. And I don't know, do you guys find that challenging or?
I have gotten to where I will basically coach them the first lesson or two. It's like, here is how you have to set up your camera. And if you don't have
Yeah.
a tripod, you can get a tripod for $15 on Amazon. You know, because I used to be like, they would prop it up wherever. Like I saw so many student faces. I'm like, no, I need to see your hands, not your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
You know, so I've just gotten to where I will take the first lesson or two, or I will send them a video or a picture like, hey, this is what I need to see. So that way they're not guessing at it.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions before we move on? Okay. So next I wanted to walk you through our game of the month. So every month we come out with a new game that is a download that you can print and all this fun stuff, cut it out. And this game is Icy Intervals, as I've already mentioned. Give me a second to get my camera swapped over. And it is adorable penguins. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love penguins. I don't know what it is about them, but I just like, yes. Which I think is kind of funny because when I was a kid, I loved panda bears. So like, it's got to be black and white. Maybe I just like the black and white. Okay, so we have our game board, and is this there are these little steps going to each. So you have the start, and there's steps going to second, there's steps going to third. There's an ice slide in which it goes down there. There's the fourth, there's a roll again, a fifth, go to start, and a sixth. So every student will get an intervals card. Now, our cards 1 through 3 are in C position. So that way, if that's what your students are focusing on, they'll see familiar notes there. Cards 4, 5, 6 are in G position. And then cards 7 through 15 are in various positions. I think there's 1 to 2 ledger lines, depending. So students will each have an intervals card. You will need a die, or there's free die apps. And then there's our tokens, which these will cover up. Their claim tokens is what they are. And of course we have, these are our highlights, is the game pieces. We have 8 different adorable penguins. And let's see, which one's my favorite? My favorite is the crested penguin. I don't know. I just like, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's got the little yellow. Yep, they're adorable. So we also have, you know, the standard emperor penguin, Galapagos penguin, and Gintu penguin. So it can be played up to 8 players, and 2 to 8 players very, very easily. So they will choose the penguin and start on start. So the fun thing with this is when you roll, you can go either direction. So you can't go both directions in one turn, but like you have 4. So you can either go 4 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can go 4 the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Depending on what your card is, will probably depend on which direction you're going. So let's do this card. So this one, they do need a second. So by doing a 4, they land on a second. So then they get to claim their card. And then the next player goes, it's very easy. Oh, they just got a 1. That's terrible. And then first player goes again, they get a 2, and you just keep playing like that. So if you land on the ice slide, not if you pass it up, but if you land on it, either way, you have to slide to the ice slide. So that can really take you off if you're, if you're almost to what your last one and then you land on the ice slide. You do have the choice of going in the opposite direction to avoid it. So there's a little bit of strategy involved. It gives the students a little bit of decision making. It's not all luck. Then there's the roll again, which is pretty self-explanatory. They land on there, they get to roll again to give them a chance to get closer. And then there's the go to start, which is kind of like Monopoly. You go to start, you don't collect $200. Was that the go to jail? Go to jail, don't collect $200, don't pass go. Yeah, that's the go to start. It's like go to start, you don't collect anything on the way, you just go directly there. So it's kind of a reset. So it's a very simple gameplay, which is what we like, because it's like when your students are learning, your very beginning students, you can teach them to count the intervals by counting the notes and all the lines and spaces in between. And so even your very beginning students, if they can count, then they can start counting that. Your more advanced students, I would have like, okay, let's name these notes. What's your bottom note of the interval? What's your top note of the interval? You could even bring it to the piano and like they have to play it in order to claim it. So you can make this a little bit more tricky than just like, oh, rolling the die and collecting the intervals on the card. Whenever the student has won, we always have our colorful success poster that you can take pictures of and share it on social media, or just share it with the parents. So that way you can kind of get them excited about what their kids are learning. They can see that, oh, they played a game, but it was an educational game. And then we have a send home activity sheet that they can color. And this one is where they draw lines to match the intervals to the correct answer. So that's our Icy Intervals game that goes along with the boom cards. I will actually walk you through, let me see what time we got. I think I've actually got time to walk you through all of the intervals boom cards. So that's a printable game. The intervals boom cards.
Are there 4 sets or 6 sets?
There are 6 sets because 2 of these sets ended up being really tiny because we were focusing on C position and G position. So let me see. Okay. Here's the first one. So this one is you're dragging the interval to the correct answer. So this is in C position. And so you would just drag it. Is it the second, the third, fourth, fifth, or sixth? Whenever you've dragged it to the one you think it is, you click submit. So we have 3 decks that are like this. One of them is in C position, one of them is in G position, and then one of them is in a lot of various positions on the staff. All of them have both treble and bass clef. So these are 3 of our decks. We divided them up just in case teachers wanted, because I've noticed, I think I said that earlier, whenever I'm teaching, I like more specific concepts than broad concepts for boom cards. So that's why we did 3 of these decks. And then the one that I showed y'all earlier, there's 3 of these decks. There's one of the decks is in C position, which this is definitely ideal. If your student is working on C position, then you would want only the C position to really drill in those notes. And then there's one in G position, and then there's one in all the different positions. So if your student is really comfortable with C position, then you can give them the C position cards where they would go in and they have to tap the top or bottom note. So it's basically note naming is what it is. And then if you introduce them to G position, then you can give them the G position cards. And then if they're a little bit more intermediate and they're reading all the notes on the staff, then you can give them the 3rd deck of this. So yes, this month, if you sign up for Music Game Club, you get the Icy Intervals printable game and actually 6 sets of boom cards because we have these smaller decks. So that is what's in the Icy Intervals boom cards. And I will actually go ahead and show y'all what's in the free ones that we sent y'all links for earlier. They're also intervals. They do not have the penguins. They're just intervals though. So this one, you're just going to identify the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and you're gonna tap the correct answer. And this one's probably in order, but they mix them up whenever you assign them. So that's one of the free decks, is tapping the correct answer. And then the other free deck is you're matching the intervals. So you're going to drag the interval to the correct answer. You have to drag all of them and then click submit. So that's the other free one, is dragging the intervals to the correct answer. So those are all of our intervals boom cards. We have dozens of boom card ideas. Sorry, y'all get to see my nice floor. Trying to swap my camera over. Oh, my screen's dead. Just a second.
And we will slowly be releasing, so we have a whole, obviously, 2023, we released a game every single month, and we will be releasing boom cards to match those music theory concepts in each game with the art graphics to match, over.
We have, I don't know if time will allow it, but we have like over 50 boom cards in the plans. And so January 1st is when we're going to do our huge launch with all the boom cards. You could buy them individually on Boom Learning, or through our website. We'll also have them on our website. Boom cards average, they're priced according to cards. So like if you have a 30 card deck, it's usually $3. If you have a 40 card deck, it's usually $4. So that's about how they're priced. So with our membership tier, if you get the $10 a month for 4 boom cards, you're usually saving about $3 to $5 depending on which boom cards we have. Usually we're going to give you 4 decks of cards, and if they average the $3 each, that would be worth $12, but the membership is $10. So yeah, we feature a different theory concept.
And actually, I was counting this morning, we have 41 different music theory concepts that we've already released for this year. So index on our website. So if you're looking for a specific theory idea or game or resource, go to our index and you can search which game covers that topic. All right, so I think, is it time for our giveaway? So we would love to give away a printable and boom card set. So first, I would love to have y'all finish this I guess, statement. I like Music Game Club because, and then that, while y'all are doing that, Amanda will get her little fancy digital spinner set up. So the 2 of y'all that are present for this meeting, y'all instantly get your name thrown in the hat. But if you complete the sentence, then she adds your name again. So there's a chance, higher chance. So
I love Music Game Club because the games are like actual board games. If I can explain a little bit, I know it's longer than a sentence, but I've seen plenty of games out there that are just, they're not very exciting, I don't know, and they're not really like actual games. And I've had students make comments like that, but these are always just like actual like board games, and it's just really fun.
That's cool. I'm pretty new. I've just kind of started checking you guys' website out and using some of the things. But I like it because it just gives me a lot of, it just gives me another way to get kids hooked and make the lesson more fun and more interesting, instead of just, you're looking at your book and you're practicing. And, I think if you can keep the lessons fun, you're going to keep your students. And so, and I like to have fun with the kids. So,
yes, exactly. That's perfect. Thank you.
I wasn't asked to share, but I've just got to say, I love boom cards because I'm not boom cards. I love Music Game Club because I love all of the artwork. Like our artist does.
They're good. They're so good. Yeah.
Yes. Every time so I create the games and then we send them off to our artist, and I do it like literally like I get on Canva and just like very draft do it. Like I find sketches. I'm just like, okay, I just want the concept. And I'm like, I test the gameplay, that way. And then we send it to her and then she sends it back. And she's like, oh, it's so beautiful. So I love the artwork. It's what makes it. All right. So I've got my fancy wheel here. Let's see if my camera's going to behave for me to switch it over. Okay, so the person who gets a free game this month is. Oh, Christina, I love it how it does that. It's like,
It's really close.
yeah, it's like,
Congratulations.
it could be one person and then it just like goes to other. Okay, so I don't know if I have your email or not. Are you signed up to our emails
Yes.
already? Okay, so I can grab your email from there. I will send you your printable game and your boom cards for this month. So yeah, if you happen to post on social media, we'd love for you to share it so more teachers can learn about it, because that's, you know, we stand by our games. We know we've got a good product. We know we have amazing games, and we just want more teachers to know about it. So if you're into social media and can share, go for it.
If you happen to already have the game or be receiving it today, then we allow you to gift it to a teacher that's a friend of yours, or any teacher that you know that might use the game. All
And
right,
then, go ahead.
go ahead.
Tell
Oh,
me, tell me your
I
names
was
again,
taking up your
guys.
notes.
I'm
I'm
so
looking at the
sorry.
notes and I'm like, oh wait, sorry, Rebecca's supposed to say that. So we have a 50% off for the first month if you want. It ended yesterday, but I went ahead and extended it to today. So if you use the code Black Friday 50, you can get the first month membership 50% off. So put it down at $7.50. And like we said earlier, even though we aren't officially launching the tiers until January, we're kind of doing the top level tier this month anyway. Y'all get to kind of be grandfathered in. So that's musicgameclub.com/subscription is where you sign up. Or if it's easier to remember, musicgameclub.com/shop, and you can find it on there. So you'll immediately get IC Intervals and the 6 IC Intervals boom cards.
Thanks.
I'll drop the link in the chat, but we'll also include it.
Yeah, I will send an email with all these links, because I don't like whenever we're on Zoom chats, it's like, oh, here's a link, here's a link, here's a link, and it's so hard to remember to go back and get them.
And once again, everyone for this month will receive, if they're a member, they will receive the boom card edition at no, like, your cost will stay the same. You're getting 6 boom decks as kind of like a sneak peek to what we're launching in January. So special gift to everyone who's supporting us. So we thank y'all for that. Okay, so looking ahead, do y'all want to know what our Q1 games are? I always want to know what's coming down the pipeline. So for January, we have a game called 4-4 Foxes. So it's teaching students how to understand 4-4 time signatures. And it's this beautiful Winterland, cozy, snowy scene with foxes. And it's just going to be, I can't wait to see what the art looks like. February is going to be called Mythical Miners. So it will be a dragon themed game with scales. And so all the different scales that you can make out of a minor scale. So the natural or pure minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. It will help students learn how to identify those scales in a really fun way. And then March is Magpie Melodies, which we're still, Amanda and I are still kind of hashing out, but it will involve magpies. So
Magpies and ear training somehow.
Yeah. So obviously, if y'all ever have a concept that you struggle to teach in your studio, or you have an idea for us with animals or with a music theory concept, please, email us or reach out to us. We love brainstorming and coming up with new ideas of gameplays, as well as how to teach music theory concepts to students in a really fun and engaging way, and as well as reusing the games in different ways. So a lot of times Amanda will do multiple video tutorials on, okay, this is our gameplay, but you can also use the game this way, and you can also use it this way, and you can also use your cards this way. So the value of your membership goes a long way. We want you to get the maximum use out of your games for the life of your teaching studio. So any other last words for you, Amanda, or for anybody else?
So your name's Rebecca?
It is.
Okay, and Amanda is the other lady.
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember y'all's names, and I just wanted to.
I should have changed my my sign in for Zoom. It says Music Game Club and Austin Arts Academy, but yes, I'm
Oh.
Rebecca.
Yeah. So I'm the one most people hear from because I write the newsletters, I write the blogs. So I am, yeah. You hear a
Okay.
lot from me. If you're signed up to our emails, you'll hear from me.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for hanging
Good.
out with us. It's fun.
It was fun. Do you guys do this once a month or something, or?
Every first Friday of the month we do it. If you sign
Okay.
up, let's see. I'm not on my computer, but it's musicgameclub.com. You can sign up.
I can post the, well, do we have the link? Let's see. I can
No,
put-
this is a new one that I'm just coming up with as I'm. All right, so it's okay. It's musicgameclub.com/monthly-music-teacher-chat. So it's monthly music chat. Musicgameclub.com/monthly music teacher chat, and you can sign up. And you get all the email reminders when we do a new one.
Okay.
So okay, yeah.
posted
Rebecca
it.
just dropped it in. Good, thank you.
But we can also put that in the newsletter. So if anyone's listening or driving right now, they
Yeah.
covered.
Thank
check
you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, first Friday of every month, we'd love to see you again. And we always have a giveaway. So